welcome back to Road to a Better Me. Kelly, before we went to break, we were touched a little bit about the emotional end of things. Maybe we should take a little bit more time to explore that, because a lot of times people think, I feel physically sick, therefore it must just be a physical thing. But our will, our emotions, our attitudes are all tied into our physical well-being as well, and can positively or negatively affect that as well. So maybe you can explain a little bit more.
I find people have a hard time connecting the two, that it can affect our bodies so much. They can understand that worry gives me an ulcer, but what if it goes further and that ulcer continues to become a tumor of some sort? It continues on and kept in check, and so it's so important to deal with that emotional side. And I've often talked to, and I see especially these young moms, we're told we have to be these helicopter parents and we have to do everything for our children, and you're carrying all this emotional baggage, all of this stuff, and they're just exhausted. I one time did a talk and actually put the bags on of the kids this and the hockey bag and this, and I mean, we're talking that's a physical bag, but we're carrying it emotionally. And just then walking with all this stuff, it's draining. It's draining. And to learn how to deal with that, and mantras and meditations can do well, but just even acknowledging that it is not yours to carry. And we get confused that moms are like, oh, but I love my children, I need to worry about them. And it comes down to worry more than anything else. I want to challenge people, do we really need to worry? Has worry ever fixed anything? It's more of you need an awareness. So I've often tell people, there's a hole in the sidewalk. So many people are like, oh, there's a hole in the sidewalk, and they lose sleep over the hole in the sidewalk. Something must be done. We need to protest. Let's put up blockages, instead of going, there is a hole in the sidewalk. I need to be aware of that. Perhaps I'll take a different route. Perhaps I'll feel encouraged to address my town councillor that they need to deal with that. And then also, you need to know that everybody else is individual about that. That age appropriately. You need to, children, there is a hole in the sidewalk. Please be aware of that. After that, for the most part, you have to let them be. We can't be holding their hands or doing it all the time, and that's the stuff that people carry. Well, you know, if they fall in the hole, sometimes that's part of their journey, and they have to learn how to get themselves out.
What we have in modern society, though, too, is we also have more than I think we've had in a long time, is a fear-driven society. What drives parents to want to bubble wrap their kids to make sure they never get a hangnail, make sure they never get a bump or a bruise, is, just that. It's fear. They see it, all these ads on TV, all this stuff on the internet. It's all, so much of it is fear-driven, and it really becomes very destructive and very counterproductive, because unfortunately it makes people so neurotic as well in their thinking and their minds, that pretty soon they're not aware of anything, so that's really changed a lot in modern society, where when you and I were growing up, I mean, our parents said, don't do that, because if you do, this will happen. But at the same token,
you have to learn it.
They have to learn it.
You can't learn about a height. Just by saying, don't do that, don't do that. Sometimes they have to slip off, and you maintain there's a step, how about we let them fall off one step, and they'll oh, there's an edge there. I one time read an article, and I found it fascinating. They were calling, they called it helicopter parenting at one time. They were calling the new style snow plow parenting, where parents are snow plowing everything out of their children's way so they never have to deal with a bump in the road. They're now finding that it's creating a mental illness, that these young adults cannot function with any type of adversity. They don't have problem-solving skills because mommy has fixed everything. So I tell my children, be thankful, because my parenting style is more like a snow job. I push them towards a problem and I rub their face in it. Figure it out.
And if you get joking, but if you get hurt once in a while, then you do, and
learn.
That's when my parents will go, well, see, we told you, but now you've learned through experience. They didn't run around us. Didn't run around after us 24/7. They had a lot of kids and a lot of responsibilities, so they couldn't. But it's completely, different. And now we're going to have to come back to basics. Let them make a few mistakes. Let them hurt themselves a little bit a few times. You know, we can still give them guidance. You know, and people just don't understand, though, that when doing this, just how it affects someone mentally and emotionally, which then, of course, has negative effects on their worldview and how they view others, and you know, their physical health as well, because that usually leads to a lot of binge eating and bad diets and things. And if you already have an ulcer, let's say, like you were talking about earlier, developing, you know, I mean, you're just adding insult to injury now as well.
So we're talking about emotional, and I want to bring it back into how does the physical, how can I as a massage therapist affect your emotional well-being? So maybe we can come back to that, because it is really important. How do you, if you have an emotional, yes, you can go to and I don't know, I honestly don't know the difference, psychologist, like, you know, a counselor. There are ways to do that. There is yogas that help with, you know, there's so many of those things, but if you come for a massage, how does that affect my emotions? Like, that doesn't make sense. You're touching my muscles. How would that, with the relaxation as part of it, but how would that affect? And I find it's amazing. People share a lot when they come in. It's quite an intimate, what's the word I'm looking for? Intimate environment. And so they often start bringing things up, and it's almost like you can feel it releasing from their body. Our body tends to hold these emotions, and there's lots of things written up where you could actually go, if you stub your toe, it means this, which I find really fascinating. Maybe our bodies are talking to us with the pain or the things like that. And we mostly, shoulders is definitely, we're carrying usually somebody else's load. And honestly, by carrying their emotional baggage does not make it lighter for them. Everybody has their own bags. And by you carrying it, just makes yours heavier. So that's something else for parents to understand, that kid's got to learn those lessons at some point, whether you save it until they're 18 and out of your house. Or I'm reading now, lots of boys stay home till 28, so you have 10 years later.
Or older. And and we'll delve into a little bit more of some of those things. We're going to take a short break right now. We'll be right back after these messages.